Thank you very much. Senior officers of the department present here, members and office bearers and members of Bar Association and Chartered Accountant Association who are here, officers from INCI and other parts and other representatives of reporting entities who have been able to come here at such a short notice. Thank you for giving me this warm welcome and an opportunity to share my thoughts at this occasion. The basic idea of the directorate, which is main mandate is compliance management, and it was reflected in the presentation which was done actually, is all about collecting data. And why is the activity of collecting data has assumed importance of late actually? Because data is the new fuel, as you all know. And we're talking in terms of how do you convert data into revenue. So the mandate is to convert available data that we collect into revenue, and that is the mandate which this organization has been focusing on. And in this journey of digital transformation, as Umesh mentioned about, what we find that are we collecting, or the reporting entities are filing accurate and complete data? And there has been very significant gaps that we have found actually, right? Since last 1 year, we have been trying our best to see that these gaps are removed, they are plugged, and we have undertaken a lot of surveys and spot verifications on the reporting entities, where we found that there were defective statements filed of 61, 61A, 61B. The bulk of the presentation was talking about 61A. I'll come to 61B little later, but let me first concentrate on 61A, which is so important. We have been collecting almost more than in 24-25 financial year, that's the reporting period of 24-25, more than 550 crore transactions that we have collected. And this is, the trend has shown a secular rise in the collection of information. That shows the economy and the growth in the economy, because more transactions, there is more activity, the more financial transactions taking place, be it interest income, be it dividend, be it property registration, be it any other part of information that we capture. And what we found that a very significant part of this information was not coming to us, to our database, correctly and accurately. And as a result of which we had to undertake spot verifications that was, I would say, a diluted, version of conducting surveys on the reporting entities, many of which are the SROs and the banks. And the banks, especially the cooperative banks. Now, why are they SROs and the cooperative banks are not able to file these data accurately, or this information accurately, and especially that we have confronted them and found that not some, but many of the unreported transactions are not small value transactions. These are very, very high value transactions, and which has an impact on the taxability of income. So whom are they trying to protect? This is the basic question that I am uh, we ask actually. And some of the reporting entities are so much engrossed in their work, we don't want to disturb them in their businesses, in their business of doing registration of properties. Definitely not, because they are also performing a secular or a sovereign job. But when we ask them that so much of a value of information has not been filed or has not been reported, they have been taking or supporting, or they have been taking in the statement that we have recorded is that the councils who are working with them, right, are basically who have been responsible for not uploading this information, which means that it's not that it's their not their responsibility of owning up, right? It is absolutely their responsibility of owning up. They cannot divert that responsibility to another third party. Now, why I'm mentioning about this is, so far we have conducted almost 600 odd spot verifications in the country compared to 22 that we conducted last year and 18 in the prior year. Now, what has prompted us to conduct so many spot verifications is the possibility and the scope that we found of defective filing, and more than the defective filing, non-reporting of transactions. And the value of such unreported transaction or defective transaction is very, very large. A few lakh crore actually. Now, if you ask me whether, and the number of such transactions is about more than about roughly reaching about 2 crore such transactions. Now, 2 crore reaching approximately 2 crore transactions with a value of several lakh crore of information which has not gone into our database. What kind of graded compliance do you or the taxpayer or the country expects from the tax department to focus on when we have, and when I'm talking about graded compliance method, I am not talking about scrutiny, I'm talking about digital nudge campaign that we have been secularly doing, I think, in the last 2 years. And the response has been overwhelming actually. The taxpayers have. So wherever there is a time for revision of return, we have reached out before 31st of December last year, and we found overwhelming response by the taxpayer in revising their return, because we only sent one SMS and an email asking them that probably you have not seen your AIS, because when I say such a large number of transactions have not reported in the annual return which is filed by the reporting entities, and they are filed only after we have done spot verifications. Now, if they are being seen by them in the AIS, probably it's a time for them to understand that if they have a tax obligation, they must file the return or revise the return. If they have not filed the return, file the return. And if they need to revise the return, must revise the return. And there have been overwhelming response to this, in fact. So our compliance, graded compliance strategy has been shifting away from scrutiny to more on digital nudge campaign, in fact. And this year we have undertaken a few lakh of such digital campaign, and there have been overwhelming response, almost 62% response in non-filers, where the third party mismatch information with the return of income. We reached out to the taxpayer and they had not filed the return. 62% of them, they filed the return for the first time, belated return before, I'm talking about before December. And this was in the case of non-filers. In the case of filers, almost 27% of the numbers that we reached out to, they also revise their returns. Now these percentages are not normal actually. We have not seen this kind of a response earlier. We have probably seen a response which is roughly in the range of about 7% to 10%, 12% maximum in the case of filers, and roughly about 25 to 30% in the case of non-filers. Who are these people? Who are these people? They are sitting on the fence and waiting for a nudge from the department to be a trigger for them to file returns or update their revise their returns. And we do not wish to discontinue this exercise. We would reach out to them even after December and ask them if they have not availed this opportunity, and there's still time for them to update the return of income with 25% the first year. And for earlier years, if we have got information based on the percentage that the government has fixed for first year, second year, third year, and now fourth year. So, e-verification combined with the strategy, the policy decision which has been taken by the government in introducing updated return scheme has been basically a game changer. And our focus is directed towards that. We are trying every year to reduce our dependency on selecting cases for scrutiny. That's not our area of focus now. And if we feel that they are little hard nut to crack, that nudge campaigns have not been able to persuade them or trigger them to file or to revise their return or update their return, then some of these cases, based on the information or based on the resources that we have in the INCI, we do e-verification. So basically, what we are doing e-verification is selecting a selected cases, very reaching out to those taxpayers electronically and asking them to resolve. And there has been overwhelming response there also. While we have been doing e-verification, many of these returns have been updated in the course of e-verification, which shows that given an opportunity, right, people would like to, I think, be on the right side actually, and not take a confrontist stand, and do not want to litigate with the department anyway, where they would be, they are subjected to, in the case of a scrutiny, a demand which is raised, which takes years before it is settled. So all that process is cut down completely, and this becomes a voluntary process or activity where there is no litigation, and at the same time the government gets the due revenue which is due from him actually. So basically, this has been what we have been practicing actually in INCI, which is one part of INCI. Now, over the years, we have refined our rules of picking up these cases, both for digital campaign. Earlier, we used to say conduct digital campaign in more than few tens of lakhs of cases, 40 lakhs, 44 lakhs, 60 lakh cases, and there wasn't proportionate response coming from the taxpayers. Now we have refined our rules of selecting those cases where we find that there are, out of the information that we get from third party, there are information of broadly two kinds actually. One is a direct income category information, which can be mapped into some field in the return of income. So if I say that there is a rent receipt which is reported by a third party, or a salary or a business receipt, and that has not been disclosed in the return, there is something which is very basic, and there may not be too much of there is a lot of objectivity in raising that. compared to where we are saying that there are cash deposits of huge amount in the return of income, and there is a derived income which we calculate ourselves, where there is a possibility of a subjectivity there, right? He may have an explanation. He may be a banking correspondent. We never know, right? He has been depositing cash in his account. So, or he may be having a business which is a cash intensive business, right? Now, where the subjectivity is not there, right? So we have refined our rules in both these category of information that we get, and select very few cases to reach out to them, right? Asking them to either revise or update their return, and they have been, I think, very good response from them. So what I expect is that you are our ears and eyes, right? You are the one who are who basically between the department and the taxpayer, and can rightly guide them not to evade tax, guide them to be on the right side, pay due taxes, and the department would never have the occasion to pick up those cases for unnecessary scrutiny. Even let me also share here with you, even out of, we say that the scheme of updation of return, which was introduced in 2022, and we have seen 3 cycles of that so far, in fact, and we have more than 1 crore, some 25 lakh returns already updated in the last 3 years. Do you think that someone would unnecessarily update those returns? So point is, the trigger was right, the identification was right, and they have taken a conscious decision to update their returns, right? Now, so the story is not as rosy as it is. We have found people who are misusing even updated return scheme also, right? We have found a very significant number of cases of out of updated returns where the total income which has been disclosed in the updated return is less than 1,000 rupees, in fact. Now, if they are thinking that they have done a duty to update their return and can go scot-free, may not be the true state. Actually, we are then looking at the source of information and selecting some of these cases also. Even after updated returns have been filed, some of these cases have been selected for scrutiny and for detailed scrutiny, right? So we have been following a trend. We always have, I think, taken extreme steps as far as data analytics is concerned. We do risk management very well, better than before. We identify cases. We use latest technology in identifying such cases and reach out to them, and we expect that those cases would on their own update the returns or revise the returns, and would reduce the burden on organizations like INCI. So basically, what we are doing is the data analytics that I did, or I was DG Systems. So what we practiced in the Systems Directorate of analyzing this data is being actually tested out in the INCI Directorate by way of evaluation. So I can put it simply like that, right? We have been quite successful in doing that testing. In the process, we have also generated a lot of intelligence that we pass on to the Investigation Directorate, because some of these cases may not be very large. Some of these cases may belong to organized crime. Some of these cases may belong to mule accounts. Some of these cases may belong to shell companies, right? And if we see a pattern, a broad pattern coming out of it, we share that information with the Investigation Directorate for taking up appropriate action by them. Right? A large number of such accounts or such information is of a benami nature, where the taxpayer must understand that this is a criminal act, and if we find such cases, we do report it to the Benami unit within the investigation directorate. So we are working very, very closely with the investigation directorate, share that information, intelligence that we generate out of the work that we do, so that they can take it to a logical conclusion. Right. So that is all I wanted to basically share with you, right? There are provisions of penalty and prosecution. Most of the reporting entities that we deal with are government organizations, they're public sector banks, they're private sector banks, they are big organizations in fact, and we do not want them to be penalized and not at all to be prosecuted. These are some of these SROs are government organizations, right? They're doing a sovereign function, they're carrying out a sovereign function, and we are very glad that Uttar Pradesh has emerged as the first state in the country to have to make PAN as mandatory field, and not that the rules did not provide that. The rules always provided that. In fact, 114B always provided that, but there was a lag between putting it down into action or implement it. And I'm so glad that because of the effort of our officers, the state government have realized the potential and have issued a notification on 1st of February, very recently, and I appreciate that, and maybe I would expect other state governments also to follow, in fact, so that whatever information that comes to us is not an orphan data. It has a PAN, a valid PAN, which is a validated PAN, and it reduces the harassment of selecting if these are replaced with another PAN. Be assured that there's a wrong person who's going to get a notice out of it actually, and it's so difficult unless the reporting entity revises or corrects that statement, that information doesn't get corrected in fact. This is also given awareness to the taxpayer at large to keep seeing their AIS, and in case if they find that transaction is not pertaining to them or the value of transaction is not accurately reported, then they can give a structured feedback response on the AIS, which we take it very, very seriously. These are automated transfer process back to the reporting entity for a reconfirmation by them. Still we find that is reconfirmed by the reporting entity, we take action against those cases. Thank you for coming over here and being part of this outreach program. I'm so glad that we are able to exchange our views, and we have been conducting outreach programs very regularly, and the idea and the mandate and the objective of such programs is to basically reduce the gap in the information and our understanding, so that you are, or as reporting entities, as consultants, you are able to give the right guidance to the reporting entity to abide by or comply with the rules and regulations. Thank you very much for this opportunity.